Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. And I'm a little crooked this morning. There we go. Um, Hello. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's still early in that week, right? Sorry, I was doing some things this morning. I love working with wax seals and stuff, but anyway, and I just found out you can color them. So, I told you I wanted to talk a little bit more about the Heal Yourself deck, and I did pull a morning mantras card for this morning. But first and foremost, I want to wish my nephew Landon a very happy 13th birthday. I cannot believe this kid is 13. Holy crap. I still remember where I was when I found out he was born. I remember a baby sibling texted me, and I was in line to see a Disney exhibit at D23 13 bazillion years ago. And God, I was so excited. It's like, oh my God. But yeah, so happy birthday, kid. It's hard to believe. This kid is like already like 5'9". But I know. Eventually everybody gets taller than me. So it's alright. Probably going to be taller than his mother too, who was also very much taller than me. But pretty much isn't, well, I can't say everybody is because not everybody is. But anyways, let's get rolling. So, good morning, older sibling. I'm still crooked. Sorry, guys. There we go. I think that's fixed it. Or it just went crooked in the other direction. It doesn't matter. All right. So, again, I wanted to talk about the Heal Yourself deck. Still working on that whole thing. Yesterday we talked about taking our masks off. And if you're interested in this deck, I mean, I don't get anything from it, but I like to tell people about it because I know sometimes I see things that resonate with me, and then I have to scour the internet because the person I'm watching doesn't say where it's from. But this one is just called Heal Yourself Reading Cards by Ina Siegel. So, I particularly like them. The artwork is very different from what I'm used to, and I enjoy it just because it's so vibrant and colorful. I think that's what I was looking for yesterday, was just vibrant and colorful, but also kind of dark, and this is part of me that's just kind of dark, but not in a bad way, just, just is. But we talked about yesterday about taking off our masks. And I know that can be hard for some people, especially when you have depression. Like I have a major depressive disorder, and every day it's a check-in, right? I mean, I literally have an alarm, so I know when to start the show. But the alarm is actually my mental health morning check-in, so it just happens to coincide with the time that I do the show, and it works out in my favor, really. But I do have to check in with myself. Even on the weekends, I check in with myself just to see where I'm at. And I notice that when I don't, that's when I start to spiral. And for a while, I just ignored that alarm. I turned it off. But I think sometimes we have to go through that, right? We have to figure out how to take off that mask, how to just kind of be who we are, and not be ashamed of it, and not be afraid of what people might say, because the people that love you for you are the people who are going to stay in your lives. The people who see something past whatever dark or angry part of you there may be are the people who are going to help you through that, who are going to see you through that. And I hope that, like myself, many of you are fortunate enough to have that. Find a community, find a group, find a therapist. There is no shame in therapy, and that's one of the things I want to start here, is just reminding people that mental health is self-care. And taking care of our minds and our mental health is very, very important. And it can also be the catalyst to removing that mask that you are wearing. So, like I said, yesterday we talked about taking off the mask. And as I was kind of circling back, I told you guys, my brain is it's still trying to figure out the new version of me. I shouldn't say the new version of me. It's like Shelly Marie 2.0 or 3.0, however many point ohs. We'll go with 2.0. It just sounds more fun. 2.2. Shelly 2.2. Or we can make it a spiritual number. Shelly 2.22. So 222. However, moving on. when I talked about the depression just a few moments ago, the reason I brought that up was because when you struggle with depression or anxiety or any of those, things under the mental health umbrella, which, it's a variety of things. There's all kinds. I know they call it different things now. I think like neurodivergent, or all the different sayings, and I'm still learning those. I'm still learning those because I get it. Depression can sound a little like like or oh my god, you have depression, because the word is so stigmatized, and that's the point, is trying to destigmatize it. Okay, people that know me think, whoa, you have depression, but it doesn't show. Well, that's because, here we go, exactly the circle, that what I'm circling back to, what I'm trying to say is, because I learned how to fake it till I make it. And that's been the hardest part about this new part of my journey, is that I'm not faking it till I make it, because that's not me anymore. And, I don't have to. I mean, I honor my feelings. If I'm not feeling, super joyful Shelly Marie, then, you're going to get smiley Shelly Marie, who may not be as chatty that day. Or if I'm home by myself, or just home, I might just be like, because sibling is my is my older sister. So, older sibling is my roommate, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, sibling. And good morning, by the way. I see you're on here. But sometimes, because of her CRPS and stuff, sometimes she falls asleep. But when I notice I am alone, whether it's in my room by myself or downstairs and sibling sleeping, or she's at a doctor's appointment or physical therapy, I tend to notice that, I'm either in a really good mood, or I gravitate to things that I know will put me in a good mood. So, I have a lot of endings of movies that I love to watch when I really kind of need that, movie pep talk. So the kind that just gets you rah-rahing, right? So when we take off our mask, we're more honest with who we are. We're more honest with our feelings, and we can start to heal those things. I always say you have to get it up and out. So whatever is hiding inside of you, get it up and out. That's another big thing that I talked about yesterday with the full moon happening. This is a very powerful moon. It is the closest to the earth it's going to be as a full moon for a while, okay? Because it's, we get super moons a lot, but super full blue moon, that's a mouthful, is something completely different. It's just, the energy of it, the traditional values and ways that, people used to use these, celestial things out there to help guide us to, like my people, part of my people, the Hawaiians, they navigated the stars to find the islands, right? All my different traditions of my cultures that I'm a Heinz 57 baby, okay? But, they probably all had to use the star or the sun or the moon to navigate certain things, or to tell time during the day. And so when it comes to the moon, we've lost the importance of that. It's something that rises in the evening, sets in the morning while the sun is coming up and then setting, and it's just a cycle. We don't see how important these things used to be to to different cultures, and to different I'm not saying all of us, okay, because I know some people still, like me, I take the time to appreciate all these things out there. I don't get to see the stars that often because of where I live. I live in the city, so when I do, it's like, wow, it's amazing. And I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to take that moment, take that beat, and just appreciate what is in the sky. Don't look directly at the sun. I don't know why I need to say that, but I swear I need to, so just in case. But you can look directly at the moon, okay? But you can soak and bathe in both of their energies. If you're going to soak in the sun, please use sunscreen, all right? Soak responsibly. So, all that said, all that rambling out of the way, let's get to the card that I wanted to talk about. Wild. I'm covering it. Wild. All right. Into the wild. Red is one of my favorite colors. I don't know why, but it just always kind of has been. There's a wild, untamed spirit inside of you, desperate to be unleashed. Free it and claim the gifts of energy, power, passion, and creativity it offers you. Through suppressing your wild, succulent, outrageous, and untamed self, you dull your senses and crush your creativity. You shrink, lose your energy, and become depressed. Your relationships suffer and your rage grows. You become ashamed, hostile, cold, boring, overserious, and scared. You stop taking chances and live in mediocrity, constantly trying to protect yourself. The truth is that no one can judge you, punish you, or hurt you as much as you can. Give in to your wildness and stop living a sham. This part of you is sensual, provocative, truthful, courageous, bold, passionate, and alive. Set it free. Now, the interesting thing about this card is that when I pulled this one and the one to remove your mask, take off your masks, I was journaling through my healing. These are cards I pulled last week, for the healing cards last week for myself, because I needed some guidance after graduating from therapy, because I didn't choose to graduate me from therapy. I was too scared to do it. So my therapist knew it was time to set Shelly free, to, boot her from the nest, if you will. And she did. And I was grateful because, like I was mentioning last Thursday, the week before, I was sitting there going, I know I'm done, but I'm too scared to do this by myself. Because, in my previous sessions of therapy back in 2017, I knew that I probably wasn't going to be done, but I knew I had to move forward. And here's the kicker, right? I don't have to always be done with therapy. There may be a time when I end up back there for a different reason. But right now, I'm okay. And right now, my therapist knew that. And so I needed these things to kind of help push me through, to make me understand. Take off that mask, because when you take off that mask, you're going to realize, hey, what have I not been doing for myself? How have I not been serving my own needs? Self-care is not selfish. It is necessary. It is absolutely 100% necessary. And if you don't take that time for self-care, you're going to end up feeling like a lot of these different things. You're going to, some of these might seem a little harsh, and they're not saying it's you, but here's the thing. If any of those words that felt negative to you resonated, think on it, okay? Because I read this card and it's like, oh my God, this is me. This is so me. This is how I've been feeling. It's when it says that you shrink, you lose your energy, and you become depressed. Now, there's chemical depression and then what I call situational depression. And I don't know if that's the term for it, but I have a chemical imbalance. Nothing I can do about that. That just is the way it is. But I did also have what I considered situational depression in the fact that, there was this thing that happened and it was just years and decades of trying to move past it, past years of this thing, and just kind of settle into myself. And then one day I realized, oh, you know what? I healed this situational depression, but I'm still having some problems. So then I thought, oh gosh, it's probably a chemical imbalance. And then I came to terms with the fact that this is my life and it's okay. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it because I have a new tool to help other people with. I can relate. But even if it's just situational, you can relate. Not everybody has depression. That's why I call it situational depression, okay? I don't know what, like I said, I don't know what the actual term for it is, or maybe that is a term. I have no idea. But there are things that are going to cause us to be sad. When we lose someone, when we lose a relationship, when I say when we lose someone, when someone in our lives that we're close to passes away, or moves away, or, just walks away, or, a job maybe. My job really upended me for the last several years, losing it. That was my whole identity. And I was literally just flailing in the wind. Even when I thought I was doing better, I wasn't, because I wasn't being honest with myself. I had that mask on. And I stifled myself. I stifled my creativity. I stopped doing the things I like to do. I stopped making the jewelry I like to make because, I do it because it's more of a hobby for me. It's just something I like to do with my hands, to put things together, to be creative, to write. I haven't written in so long because I've just lost that part of me. And I want to find that again because writing is my passion, but I have been journaling, and that's the kind of writing I have been able to do. And this is what it's talking about. Through suppressing your wild, succulent, outrageous, and untamed self, you dull your senses and crush your creativity. A lot of times when we fall into these moods or these depressions or the grief, we tend to just kind of forget who we are. And it becomes, this is why I always try to tell people, grief is complicated. It is very complicated because you struggle when you start to move on from the feeling of loss. It doesn't mean you forget. The way I always put it is, you're not going to get over it, but you're going to learn to live with it. And that's any type of grief. I mean, if it's a relationship or a job, you will probably get over it and move on. But when it comes to someone passing away or dying, you are never going to get over it. You are going to learn to live with it. And some people might say, no, I pushed it down. But no, the memories of these people that we've lost, or the person that you've lost, they come back. And they either leave a happy imprint in that moment, or they might leave a sad imprint in that moment, or they might be both. It might be a bit bittersweet, right? So, but don't judge that feeling. I did that for a long time. I judged it. And so that's why I'm sharing all this, because, I've learned, and everybody has their own way of dealing with things. I know for my dad, he pushes it down and just forgets about it. But I know he misses my mom a lot. But he's trying to find that balance of still living his life since he is alive, but also missing her, and I don't know what else goes on in there because, my dad's not a big person about talking about his feelings. But for me, I remember when I really kind of started moving through my grief for Mom and Sissy Joe, I remember the first time I really kind of laughed about a memory I had of both of them together. And then I just stopped. And this wasn't the first time I've giggled, but it was the first time I was really aware of this, emotion. And Sibling was just like, are you okay? And I'm like, I feel kind of guilty laughing. I mean, how is it okay that I'm happy, but they're gone? And it's because the memory brought me joy. And sometimes it's what we need. The same memory not too long after made me sad because they weren't there. But I carry them in my heart. That's the best I can do for me. How we all choose to move on, how any of you choose to move on, is up to you. But do not lose that part of you that keeps you going. Do your best to not do that, because that can lead to spiraling, that can lead to major severe depression. And I'm telling you, coming out of a spiral and coming out of depression, it's like trying to claw your way out of an oil slicked room. It's just probably, not going to happen until you either reach out for help or you start figuring it out. You take a moment. There could be, 10 bricks, right? 10 concrete blocks, just enough to reach the top and peek out and maybe, get the energy to pull yourself out over. But we're so focused on what is making us sad, what is causing this pain, and we're so lost in this pain that we don't see the things around us that could help us remove ourselves from these things. And sometimes that's necessary. I know that sounds ridiculous, but sometimes it's necessary, because sometimes we have to hit that bottom in order to realize, hey, what do I want to do? There's a great line from the show Mom that I mentioned last week, where Marjorie says to Bonnie, and she says, she's like, well, I've hit bottom. And she's all, well, you can decide if you want to keep, she's all, you can decide if you want to, get better, if you want to keep digging, so it's like, when you hit that place, you can decide, hey, am I going to keep digging this hole I'm in, or am I going to try to do something about it? And like I said, it's not minimizing how hard it is to come out of a spiral, especially when you have a chemical imbalance, or especially when you're going on a healing journey. But that's why it's so important to honor those feelings that you're having, honor those things that you're going through, whether it's anger or sadness or happiness or joy, or maybe you're having all these things all at once. You have to honor that feeling, because that's how you're going to be able to see it. Take a step out of yourself, look at it from a different perspective. Give it some love and nurture it, and see, hey, why am I angry? Is this anger because I'm genuinely angry, or is this anger coming from somewhere else? Is this pain coming from somewhere else? Is my worrying and my overthinking and thinking the world is going to end tomorrow, or, in a few months, is that me? Or is that overthinking? Is there so much anger inside of me that I don't know how to process any of this, that I'm just going to worry about something until it causes some kind of health problem, right? So when we talk about wild, we're talking about stepping out of all of that pain, all of that anxiety, all of that depression, and trying to find an anchor. You know, it's like in those movies, right? When you're watching and they have they call it a grappling hook? I don't know. I might just be stealing that from Batman because I think that's what he uses. But you know, those hooks, right? And people are always trying to hook it and hook it and hook it, and then all of a sudden it hooks, and they're like, oh, okay, now we have some, we have some leverage, right? We can pull ourselves up. Sometimes you just have to keep throwing that hook until it catches onto something. And you can ask for help. Find someone you trust. If you start talking to someone and they start minimizing your issue, or they start, trying to tell you how to fix it, tell them, please, I just need you to listen. I don't need you to fix this because I have to figure out how to fix this. Or, sometimes they'll sit there and say, well, what can I do for you? And I mean, this happens with Sibling and I a lot. It has happened with Sibling and I a lot in the last couple of years with everything I've been going through in my head. And she's all, what can I do for you? And I simply told her, if I knew, I'd be doing it. And I wasn't, the first time I said it kind of sassy and a bit bitchy, and I didn't mean it to be. And I realized, I caught myself and I'm like, oh my God, she's just trying to help. So remember, a lot of these people are just trying to help, but I'm also the person who is a recovering fixer. I am a recovering fixer. When I couldn't heal myself, I tried to fix everybody else and their problems. I tried to say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Or how about this? And I get it. It got annoying. And when I realized what I was doing, I didn't realize it by myself. It was really, really, in a way, pointed out to me big time. I realized, oh my God, it's because I can't fix myself. And once I realized that that was something I was doing, I stopped and I started looking within. What can I not fix that I'm trying to fix in this other person? What needs to be healed inside of me? So I was talking about, to baby Sibling and bro from another Mo, about, journaling, how I hadn't journaled yet, about how I felt about, being out of therapy now. And, when I was showering, this morning, I thought, normally I'm a night shower, but when I was showering this morning, I was like, why can't I journal? Why can't I journal? What is happening with me? And I realized maybe there's nothing to journal. Maybe there's no, side feeling about being out of therapy. I'm excited about it. I'm nervous about it, but I already know my path, right? I know that every day is going to be the unknown. Every step I take, I don't know where it's going to lead me. Every, opportunity, I don't know where it's going to be landing. It could land right on top of me and I might miss it. So it might, jump and bounce off of me and land right in front of me and I still might miss it, but hopefully I don't, right? But I know that it's like, they always say opportunity only knocks once. I disagree. I disagree. If that opportunity is meant for you, it is going to land in front of your freaking face. All right. And it's going to keep slapping you until you notice it's there. Now, you don't want to push it aside because it may take a while to circle back around. But I realized this morning that it's like, maybe it's not so much about, any sadness, because I don't have any sadness about it. And I think that's just it. I have been journaling for so long through all my pain and all my healing that I didn't even realize, holy shit, I'm healed. I'm healed. It's like I keep talking about how I'm healed, but I kept needing to find a reason to journal something, and it turns out it wasn't that exciting. Well, maybe my purpose on this planet is not just to help people, but boy, I really need to learn patience. And I really just need to learn how to walk away when people push and push and push and push. Just take a beat and say, you know what, I'm out. I'm out. We'll talk later. And that's a hard thing because when you struggle with these triggers, sometimes the only way for these triggers to come out is when someone else pokes the bear. And then it's just like, rah, 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 and nothing happens, right? Nothing constructive happens. You just sit there yelling at each other until you're blue in the face and then feeling like a bunch of assholes when you're done. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, and and I'm not referring to anybody in particular, but the thought that was running in my head is when Sissy Joe and I used to argue. It's just kind of like, oh Lord. It's like she'd poke the bear and I was just kind of feeling like, all right, let's do this. Let's, like in hockey, right? Drop the gloves. Let's drop the gloves. So, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I want to be a positive person spreading positivity. And people might say, well, just don't be toxic positive. I'm never going to be toxic positive because I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to tell you the truth about things. But I have to be positive because that's what got me through. I know not everything is sunshine and roses. Not everything has been sunshine and roses in my life. And once I realized that, I'm kind of the creator of the sunshine and rainbows and roses, it got a little different. It became different for me. Because I started looking through a different lens, an honest one. And that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do to uncover that wild side of us, to give into the wildness and stop living a sham. Take off that mask. You deserve to live the beautiful life you want to live. Do we all have problems? Whether you have a mental illness or not, I hate that word. Whether you have a mental health issue or not, it doesn't matter. We all still wear masks of some sort. Whether you're an overthinker, a worrier, a people pleaser, a fixer, you don't have to have trauma to have a lot of pain in your life. Lots of things happen, right? You may be living the most glorious life that you've ever lived, and all of a sudden someone that you love dearly dies and you're upended. And then all of a sudden it's like you don't have these tools to deal with these things. And, so don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be ashamed to reach out to support groups. I have a friend who lost her brother, who took his own life, and she's in a support group for that, and they help one another. And, I know I've mentioned support groups to other people, and they're like, I don't want to be around a bunch of sad, depressed people. But here's the thing. Support groups come at all levels of people's different journeys. All right. You could have a person that's brand new, just lost someone like 2 months ago. Funeral arrangements are done. They've been buried or, scattered, and, maybe over a month. But you're still struggling and you're like, okay, I need to find people. But you might also have someone who's still going because they know that their journey can help someone else's. So you could have someone that's brand new and fresh to this, and you could have a seasoned veteran who's saying, you know what, I've been there, I've done this. And some people just go because they want to help other people. They want to give back to other people like people gave to them. People gave them a safe space to listen and to open their hearts and to cry and to feel all these, feelings, whether it's, super sadness or, extreme elation during certain memories. I don't want people who are sad because they lost someone to feel guilty because they're laughing at something that person might have done once that brings them joy, because I personally believe that's what they would want. When I die, I want people to celebrate my life. I don't want people to be sad that I'm gone. I'm sure it'll be hard because there is a void that we all leave, that people leave in our lives. I hope someone will be sad when I die, but I know baby sibling will be, because she tells me all the time, you can't die, so, and she literally says it like, well, she doesn't point her finger because it's in text, but I got a capitalized text one day that says, I'm glad you're back seeing your cardiologist because you have to live forever. And it's like, don't know if I want to live forever, but I will definitely do my best to live as long as I can in this life. But yeah, we choose our path, and we choose what direction we want to go in. So you have to decide for yourself, okay? Do you want to let go of, all this pain and start figuring out how to heal? Or do you want to hang on to it and just see what happens? So, and sometimes we have to do both, right? I had to do both. For me personally, I had to hit bottom, and I kept digging. I kept digging and digging and digging until one day I did see that episode, and I thought, oh my God, I'm still digging, and it's like, I need to stop. I need to stop. I need to give myself some grace. I need to give myself some patience, and I need to, acknowledge my feelings and acknowledge where I'm at on this journey. And once I did that, everything started to change for me, because there was an acknowledgement. There wasn't shame. There was, realizing, hey, you know what? I'm going through something that's extremely hard that not everybody survives. And that's the sad truth. Not everybody survives their healing journey. And I think that's why there are a bazillion of us out there who are advocates for mental health, because we want people to be able to survive their healing journeys. So the morning mantra, affirmator's card for today. It looks like a Venus flytrap, a bit precarious situation for that little tiny bug. But I can spend my day feeling daunted, or I can spend it climbing over the thing that's daunting me. If I'm going to spend, it might as well be a good investment. Yeah, I'm still not sure that I would put myself in this life or death situation, because I don't want to be some giant thing's meal. But I get the point. Right? Face your fears. Face your fears. Fears are our fears. Most of it's, it's all up here, right? Or it could be something that happened to you when you were a kid. I'll give you a simple example. When I was a kid, I was in the car with my grandfather, and we were going to pick up my parents because his car was in the shop. And I was in the front seat. Yeah, I was like 5, right? But back then, nobody cared. I mean, if you were big enough to sit in a chair with a seatbelt, you were big enough to sit up front. But it's not that they didn't care. We just lived vicariously through something, or we just lived precariously, is what I should say. Back then, like, throw caution to the wind. But as we all know, big rigs need to take a wider turn because they're big. Well, my grandfather wasn't paying attention, decided, oh, well, this guy is half in this lane, half out, but I'm in a small enough car that I can go by it. Took off the front fender of the car. And it was my grandfather's fault. But because of that, I was terrified of big rigs and driving by them for years and years and years. I remember one time having a sibling in the car, probably a good decade or more ago, and I had nowhere else to go but between these two big rigs, and I squealed my way through there. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then, I noticed one day, I was like, okay, I'm driving next to this big rig, and, I don't want it to scare me anymore. So without anybody in the car, I ended up in this very similar situation, and I thought, look, you can either trust that everything's going to be okay and go through, or, you can just panic like you normally do, and it could end up badly because I'm panicking. And after that moment, it's kind of like, I still get a little nervous, because, nobody wants to be sandwiched between two big rigs. But especially because, and it's not the big rig people I don't trust. Sometimes, 9 out of 10 times the driver's awesome, but the people around them don't drive very well. Here's my pro tip for you today. If you see a big rig, do not cut them off, all right? Because they cannot stop like a regular car. They will jackknife, they will take out other cars, and it will be your fault. And if that sounds harsh, it's because you didn't listen to the advice. Do not cut off big rigs. Let them over, then get out of the lane if you don't want to be behind them. Sometimes they have to be jerks because no one will let them over. So that's my pro tip for you today. Be kind to big rig drivers, because you know what? Like I said, they cannot stop on the dime like we can. So, I know that kind of went in a whole different direction, right? So anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, be kind to yourself. Celebrate your wins. If you're feeling a little lost, honor your feelings, honor whatever it is you're going through, your pain, your sadness. Give yourself some grace, okay? Because we all deserve that. We all deserve to live a beautiful life that doesn't entail so much drama and pain. We can fix that pain if we choose to. All right. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Tomorrow is going to be Self-Care Wednesday. We're back to Self-Care Wednesday. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you back here hopefully tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch. And you can also catch the replay on YouTube. All right. Have a great day, and thank you so much for watching.